So, welcome to the second live chat with Shaun and Nick, giving you the straight talk on what to buy, what not to buy, how to be a man, and other riveting topics.
That's a broad spectrum.
So, today we're going to talk about shopping. We're going to cover what might be a sensible buy, what's likely not a sensible buy, maybe something about how to judge whether something is good or bad, and what is a wise investment. Does that sound about right?
Yes, I think so. And then I think we're going to briefly cover how to buy things, eBay mainly, second hand, and just sort of briefly cover that. It's quite a broad subject that we've covered in print before on the blog, but I think we just go over some points and eliminate some myths and just sort of try and narrow it down a little bit about a good way to buy and not a good way to buy. But the main topic of today was, about buying things to last. So how do you buy things that you know are going to last you a while? Buying things that you will buy once, hopefully. An item that you could buy once and it'll last you a while. So you and I look at it from sort of two slightly different viewpoints. I think coming to the same conclusion, though, I would imagine. So from sort of a more high-end point of view, so a law of diminishing returns. When you spend, say, X amount on something, do you spend X amount more, and what extra does that get you? So what would be the benefit? And then likewise at the bottom end, so how far down do you go before you start thinking, that's not going to last, or that's not going to be better.
Because there is the factor of budgets here, and we do appreciate that not everyone has the same amount to spend. Some people have very little money. There are options. Other people have almost unlimited money, which is probably less of a problem. But maybe we should address that first point. There's a thing now going around, which is buy better, buy less. Which strikes me as more of a marketing tactic than an actual sound advice. This is a catchy thing to say.
Yeah, and I would imagine that, again, from a marketing point of view, it's coming from those that maybe. You okay? You on? Yeah. I think a starting point would just be buy nothing. So look at what you do have. Then do you need to buy anything initially? Do you need to buy something? Do you have something that would do the job for you? Do you have a pair of jeans that would be fine, or is there something lurking at the back of the wardrobe you've not worn for a while that would be a suitable thing to drag out and dust down? From that point of view, there's a start.
I think there was an older version of that saying, which was buy better, buy once, which seems to me like the more consumer-orientated version of it, and not shops asking you to come and buy more expensive stuff.
I mean, I think, the example that always springs to mind for me is jeans, a pair of jeans. So I'm quite new to the world of sort of high-end jeans. I'm so new in the fact I haven't actually got any. But, so where's the cut-off point? So pair of jeans, you could really get away with having one pair of jeans, couldn't you?
Sure.
The mantra now being that you don't wash them. So one pair of dark denim straight leg jeans and a decent amount of denim should do you. Not therefore everything's a variation of that. So if you could get away, but it's how much do you spend? The jeans I probably wear most are a Uniqlo pair that aren't selvage denim. They're just a regular. I think they would have been about £30. bought them second hand for I think £12, but I find them very comfortable and they're a good fit. I find sometimes the thicker denims I find quite uncomfortable at times, and I struggle to sort of break them in. I've got a pair of Levi 501 sort of XX. I don't know what the means. They're kind of very thick sort of selvage denim that I just can't seem to. And I reckon if I wore them every day, fine, and wore them in bed, fine, you know, or going swimming or whatever. But they just don't seem to break in. But you've probably got more experience on that than I have.
I think if you washed them a couple of times, they'd loosen up nicely.
Mm-hmm.
But Uniqlo is a good point when it comes to denim, because Uniqlo make totally serviceable jeans. I mean, they're great value, and I can't stress that enough. I mean, value for money is a major point here, and there's often talk about salvage denim and so forth. Yes, that is normally meant to indicate a higher quality of denim, but it's not sort of the magic word that a lot of people will make it out to be. People who are denim enthusiasts, when it comes to salvage denim, they're thinking of denim woven on narrow shuttle looms, probably in Japan, a fabric with a lot of character, and will probably fade in unique ways when you wear it. But you also have salvage denim, which salvage really just means it has a self edge, that colourful stripe on the edge of the fabric, which basically you can do on any loom. So as a descriptor, it's meaningless. But the stuff that Uniqlo uses is salvage denim, and they're remarkably reasonable and a good starting point. You'd get a better pair of jeans for, say, £100, maybe £150. Do you get jeans twice as good at £300? No, you don't. It's like you said, the law of diminishing returns.
So what would you be looking for at £100 over the £50? What sort, you know? So if you went and bought a pair of Levi, I don't know, 501s was always the one that was the popular jeans. What would you'd probably pay, what, £80-90 for them now, I would imagine, thereabouts?
No idea.
Much cheaper, I wouldn't imagine. But so what would a £100 pair of jeans get you that £50 wouldn't?
I'd hope they were better made. Then again, comparing it to Uniqlo is a bit tricky, because Uniqlo do make things really bloody well.
Yes.
They'd be
just different. A general high street pair of, you know, jeans compared with you know, something at sort of 2-3 times the price. What would be the difference there? What would you be looking for?
I'd think possibly better fabric, probably better sewn, probably made in Eastern Europe rather than Asia.
Right, okay.
And once you're coming up to £200, you probably have more interesting denims. Now, I realise for many people, interesting denim is just, what are you talking about, man? But when you stroke your hand over your thigh and you think, that feels nice, then you've probably got an interesting denim.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So the Italian denim they make now is the most environmentally conscious denim. It's absolutely perfect. I mean, the quality is top notch, but it is entirely featureless, which doesn't really do
what you want, though. You don't want, certainly on jeans, you don't want huge logos on the back or the pockets.
Oh, no.
It just makes them, you know, there was a kind of phase for that about sort of 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where jeans were sort of a mobile advertising board, you know, and there would be...
And you don't want them artificially ripped and torn and worn. And I mean, personally, I think a pair of jeans never looks as good again as the first day you have them.
Straight from the box kind of thing, that feeling, you know. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice and crisp and universally blue all over.
Yeah. So, moving downwards then.
I'd say about 200 is about peak denim.
Yeah.
After that, you're not really getting much value for your money.
And would it a lot sort of be then rarity?
It will be rarer. It will be probably made in Japan. It's hard to get. I mean, part of the thing is hunting down a rare pair of jeans from some obscure website in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not giving you value for money, but it's giving you a bit of fun. And
yeah. And I suppose, you know, a lot of people like that kind of thing, and that's fine. But again, yeah, it's like, will it get you anything that better? I think shoes is always one for me that I've always seen a very clear line in the more you pay, the better they'll be, you know. Generally.
Hold that thought a second. I just noticed an interesting question here about how often you wash your jeans.
Okay.
And I have to say that there is so much hoopla said about washing jeans. And for me, it's a case of if they're dirty, wash them. It's a feature of the indigo dye that it's almost powder-like, so it lies outside the cotton when it's spun, which makes it so it falls easily off. And it also means that when you wash it, all that loose indigo dust will be released. So if you wash it, you will get more fades or wear in them.
Right.
But really, all this talk about wearing them for a year before washing them, I mean, that is marketing hype again. It's
right.
Okay.
I would imagine they'd be a little bit smelly as well. You know, if you left them for a year, I think about like in your general year what you would do. And I've got a dog as well, you know, so it's like as you do, you've got two. So the thought of leaving a pair of jeans is just, it's not feasible.
I don't even want to go into the sort of stuff you'll find in a pair of jeans after a year, but they can do a CSI denim, I think.
Oh. Creatures. So again, moving on. So shoes, again, without having a huge amount of research done or experience, I can tell that generally the more I pay for a pair of shoes, albeit second hand, I will notice a clear differentiation between a pair of shoes at £80, £100 high street shoes, the pair at say even £200, or the pair that would have cost me £300 or £400. There is that for me, there's a very clear link in the quality of the materials used, how they're put together, and how long they last, and how long they look like they're designed to last as well. Would you agree? Or?
I think if we say what is a good pair of shoes, I mean, are there certain characteristics? Say, are they resolable? Which means that they'll last with resoling 4 times as long as a pair that aren't resolable. Doesn't matter where they're made, because obviously a pair made in India will be a lot cheaper than in the UK.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you see a lot of footwear around these days and I know this is a point where people get into the budget idea, but you can find a serviceable pair of shoes, say for just under £100. But if you want a pair of Goodyear welted, UK made, resolable shoes, you're really looking at 300 up. But you can get a good pair for 300.
Yeah,
this is new.
Yeah, but I mean, again, we were talking about budget, but the £300, it may seem a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. However, again, as you say, you're getting something that will last you the rest of your life if they're looked after. It's a resolable. It's something you're always going to have, and as long as you're buying something that is in a style that is relatively timeless shape and style of shoe, I think we kind of swung back to a regular sized toe and length of shoe rather than the pointed
double strap.
Yeah, it was sort of prevalent in the 60s and then kind of made some sort of comeback. But if you look at, like a proper English made shoe, it's generally about the same shape, isn't it? It's kind of rounded. Hold on. It's kind of rounded, and I've always got something handy.
Bring out the props.
So that kind of shape, so that would have been new about £300, I would have imagined.
Yeah.
When I bought them second hand, the soles were worn right through. So that pair of soles there, which is a Vibram like full length, that cost me £45 to get those fitted, including the sole, and that makes them good as new. And they're not really going to go out of fashion, are they? Because they're not what you would call
they're really in fashion. So if it's never in fashion, it can't really go out of fashion. So, which is the sort of thing I like.
Yeah, and it's an item that I can always reach for, and I know that whatever the weather, I'll wear them in the summer if I'm going somewhere where it requires a decent pair of shoes, but equally I can wear them in the middle of the winter as well. And again, money wise, I think I paid perhaps £80, £90, I think, for them second hand, and then the additional cost of the soles. So, it wasn't a massive outlay initially. You could go to a high street shop and buy a pair of shoes made in the Far East that have been banged together on a cheap machine that would have cost about the same, I would imagine.
It cost about the same, and they'd probably last one, maybe 2 seasons,
mm-hmm.
and then they'd be landfill.
Yeah. Because if you're on them all the time, I mean, I'm not massively active, so my shoes tend to last a while. But if you're walking to work or public transport, whatever, they're going to wear down. Even driving, they wear down quite a bit. So, what other items would you say we need to be looking at for things that you could buy that would last you, things that would last you a certain length of time?
Jackets is unavoidable.
Yeah.
And I see again second hand. I mean, stuff like a Barber jacket, which, I mean, how long, if you used it every year, how long would it last? And then you can pick one up second hand for pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
They're
getting cheaper. They're actually getting cheaper second hand as well for some reason. I don't know. Maybe because it's coming up to the summer. Yeah, and it's probably again, it's not fashion. Is it anti-fashion? I don't know. It's just the kind of thing. I think they went through a brief period of sort of hipster cool, didn't they, about 10 years ago, where
I think they slip in and out a bit because there's the Princess Di thing and the Sloane Rangers. That
was quite a while ago. We're sure that they had that, and I think that was most people's kind of first association with them, was that Sloane Ranger thing, which kind of passed me by. They had a kind of moment with football casuals, I think, for a while, with certain subsets of football casuals wore them, and then they kind of, I think I got one when I went fishing. So it was a practical item, and then you kind of realise how practical they are, so you just kind of keep wearing them. I've got a few, as most people I think that have more than one, and there's generally always one in the back of the car, so there's always one thrown in the boot. It's usually the worst one, the most worn one, but I know it's always there, so it's handy to know. I wouldn't, like a decent tweed jacket or a good, sort of outdoor jacket, I wouldn't just throw in the back of the car and leave. But I don't mind with a Barber, because you know that it can kind of take a bit of abuse, and it can take a bit of go. I had a quick look this morning, and there was a decent, I'm not going to tell anybody exactly where, but there was a decent one on eBay in my size for 30 quid. Buy it now, 30 quid. Now I've got one exactly the same, so I'm not going to buy it, I don't think. But I'm just saying, for £30, you've got a jacket that's kind of cool enough to wear in the most northern summers. You could wear it. Yeah. You could get a liner for it. You could buy a hood for it. You could stick a jumper under it. It's ideal for winter. It's waterproof. You don't need to get too fussy about it. It's never not going to look okay. So you could walk into a sort of fairly top-end bar, if that's the sort of thing you do, or you could walk into a farmer's market and you kind of fit in. That's kind of what I like about them. So they're fairly classless in that respect, that you don't need to, you could fit into various sections of society. Not that I do, and it would look okay, wouldn't it? Yeah. That might be a different case in Norway. But...
And it works well. It's a proven design.
Yeah.
You mentioned you'd been looking on eBay.
Yes,
I think you spend a fair amount of time on eBay, Shaun.
Probably too much time on eBay, Nick. Yeah, I go through phases where I'll be looking for something particular. So, and I'll sort of narrow it down and start looking and building up a profile of the product. How many is there? How much does it sell for? You know, what's the kind of cheap end? What's the dear end? Who's taking the piss with prices? What's realistic? And I think the more time you spend on it, the more you get to know the market for what you're looking for, or menswear in general, how it's listed, that kind of thing. So I'd say it's probably 90% plus of the clothes that I buy, I'm buying off eBay to that point, because it's kind of giving me everything I need at the moment. It's giving me everything I want to buy. Yeah.
Because it's quite an odd marketplace, really, because you have professional sellers, you have private sellers, you have new stuff, you have wildly second-hand stuff,
Yeah.
cheap stuff, bargain stuff,
Yeah.
From all over the world.
Yeah.
And I know, because you look for the bargains, and I admit I do look for the bargains as well, but I also look for the weird stuff, the odd stuff, the rarities.
Yeah.
It's where you can find stuff that you never thought you'd see for sale again.
Absolutely. And you know, that's when you've got to know that you buy, when you see it and it's there and it's once, you buy it. I've had quite a lot of people sort of message me and stuff over the last 6 months, I would say, about, you know, about how to buy off eBay and what to look for. And I know I had written a piece on your blog, 18 months ago, maybe a year ago.
Not sure.
A year ago, yeah, on how to buy. Really, like, it's not a quick fix. There isn't quick answers as to what to do and what not to do, right? Because it depends on what you're looking for. And I think you have to put the hours in, you have to put the research in about a product. So you can't just wire in and go, right, I'm just going to look for whatever's there, and if something pops up that's nice, that's great. You know, for me, it's about buying things that I necessarily wouldn't have spent the money on at full price. Yeah, I'm prepared to pay for something at a cheap price. So, and it's about getting a bargain, you know. So, if, say, for instance, I was looking for a scarf, and I wanted a decent scarf, say like Beg & Co or a Dunhill or Drake's, that I'm not going to spend £200 on a scarf. I'm just not. You know, I've got 3 children and a dog. You know, I can't. We're not in a position that I can turn around and say, "Yeah, look, dear, I spent £200 on a scarf." You know, I'd be out my ear. I'd be living in the scarf. But I can go on and get one for £20 or £15 or £30. You know. But it's about doing that. So if you want a scarf, do some research, find out who makes the best scarves. You know, how much are they new? You know, how much do they sell for? So if they sell for normally 30 is a bargain, you know, do you want to pay 30 for a scarf? Maybe not. Okay, look at another brand. Look at something else. An example being, sort of one of the last sort of bigger purchases was a Henry Lloyd's Consort jacket, which is a jacket I know has been around for about 30 odd years. Designed by a guy called Almis Caretti, who Italian guy, who designed this jacket for Henry Lloyd to be a kind of all-in-one winter coat, light but comfortable, nice shape. So did a bit of research. You know, there's a few different models. People still selling them for £50, £100, and I managed to pick one up. You know, but again, that's about knowing the brand and knowing the product. And I think before people start going on and saying, you know, what can I get? What's for the money? I think you need to look at what you want first. Don't just buy stuff just because it's cheap. Buy the things that you're looking for. You know, and do you want a winter coat? Right. So what's the winter coat do you want? Do you want a barber? How many different barber styles? You know, 80%.
What you're really saying is build up the intelligence, get to know the brands, get to know the prices.
Yeah.
And I'd say there's one really important factor as well, is know your sizing.
Yes.
And know to look at the sizing on the ads.
Yeah.
It would normally be a P2P 20 inches, say, which is armpit to armpit measured flat chest.
Sleeve length, overall length as well. So you might find a product a bit longer than you would normally like. You know, collar, shoulder to shoulder. So you don't want something that's bulky out there. You and I know that sizing is not a standard thing. It's
definitely not, and especially not when you move into vintage stuff.
So
a medium might be just about anything, and especially
it generally could. You know, I've seen a medium being a 46 chest. I've seen a medium being a 36 chest. You know, so you have to ask, and if they've not told you, which a lot of them don't, because it's easy to list something now. So you can list something on your mobile phone in 5 minutes, and it's easy for people to do that, and they won't list the sizes. If you're interested and they want you to buy, ask them the questions, ask them the measurements you want, you know, and if they can't give you them, walk away. The other thing that people have asked about is how to buy. So buy it now, bidding, making offers. And again, if it's a buy it now, it's at the price you want, just buy it. That's nice and simple. Just, you know, it makes it easy. People put the buy it nows on because they want a quick buy, but actually buy it nows take longer to sell. You know, so buy it nows can sit there for a long time, but if a seller wants to keep something on for a while, they'll put it on a buy it now. If it's on a buy it now and you're not quite ready to commit, save it, just store it. You know, save this, it'll be there. It won't disappear overnight. Offers, I think if you're putting an offer in for something, don't take the piss. So if something's £30, don't offer them a tenner, because you get 3 offers or something. It's no point.
That's pretty much a golden rule, though. Don't take the piss.
Yeah,
because
that's how it operates.
The wrong foot.
It operates on a don't take the piss basis, you know, but there's plenty of people do. So if something's £30, I would maybe go in at 22. When we talk 22, you know, and they say, hey, 25, and, you know. But anyway, bidding, which is the way most people will still do it. When you're bidding for something, you still have to have a price in mind. So again, I'll look at £30. If you're prepared to pay £30, right, don't try and bid in at 20 at the last minute, because you'll lose out. If you're going to lose out, you'll lose out. If you're prepared to pay 30, put a bid in for 30 with 10 seconds to go or less. I would even go down, depends on your broadband speed, but 6 or 7 seconds. Yeah, it's like, 6 or 7 seconds. Put in your top bid, but don't put in £30. Put in £30 and 8p, because if somebody else puts in £30 before you, they'll get it. So put in £30 and 8p, or £30 and 10p, or 12p. Okay, so then you guarantee it. Don't put in £35, because you're not paying £35. If you say you're going to pay £30, pay £30, right? And you can walk away. Don't get annoyed because you've lost it for £4, right? It's silly. It's silly. If you're prepared to pay £30, think about it and pay £30. Don't then go to 34, because then you'll go to 38, 42.
That's a pro tip, Shaun. And the 10 seconds before the end is also very important, because if you're doing it, say, 3 minutes before the end, and you see you're outbid, you increase it. You'll increase it, and then you get caught up. Suddenly you've spent 75 on it. Yeah,
and I think end times as well. So unless something's ending at 9, 10 o'clock at night, especially on a weekend, that's the time you want. If you're a seller, you want to end stuff, because that's when people have had a couple of drinks. They're sitting there bidding. If something's finishing on a Monday lunchtime, you're going to get it. There's a good chance you're going to win it if it's on a Monday lunchtime it's finishing. You know, so if kind of bear that in mind as well. Again, there's not a quick fix. It's just research before you go in and start looking for something. You know, don't randomly buy 80 quid's worth of crap from Woolworths clearance line or whatever, or, you know.
Really, a lot of this advice also goes for buying from charity shops, doesn't it? And second-hand shops. I mean, doing the intelligence, knowing the brands you're after, or the brands you might be after. And again, knowing sizing, qualities, knowing what to look at. I mean, I'm always, whenever I find something, I'll be looking at what is the fabric like? Where's it made? Synthetics, I just tend to avoid straight away. I'll spend more time looking at a good brand than a brand I've never heard of.
Our charity shops tend, on the whole, be sort of high street things like Marks and Spencer, Next. They tend to come up a lot in high street. There's a kind of a shirt brand, Charles to write. I think it's an online shirt brand, maybe. Every time I go to charity,
it's one of the ones that sort of make out that there's Savile Row or something like that, isn't it?
Thank you. My wife's blending something in the kitchen there. Yeah. I mean, they look okay, but you know, how many business shirts do you know? But I think with charity shops, the difference is it's that buzz where you don't know what you're going to get. So you go in and there's a rail and you don't know what's there. It's a completely different way of doing it, and I can understand why people get quite excited about charity shop shopping. I just don't do it that much. You know, we've got a few. I tend to buy books from charity shops rather than clothes because I can generally never find anything.
Well, there's a lot of visits made with no return at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we just have the one big place locally, and I'll go in there every Saturday. You can almost set the clock by it, and I'll find something good 3 times a year if I'm lucky.
Right. I found quite a lot. I was on holiday. You tend to find the more affluent the place, the better stuff you get in charity shops. You know, we were on holiday last year, and we were in a little village called Shaftesbury, where, you know, they filmed the Hovis advert there. You know, the Gold Hill where the little boy pushing the bike up the hill.
Yeah.
You might have seen it. There was about 10 charity shops in a row, and there was lots of good stuff, and I got lots of decent stuff, and that was my holiday made. You know, I was quite happy. Like, I could do anything anybody wanted. I got to go to these 10 charity shops in a row, and I picked up John Smedley jumpers. I got, you know, there's just lots of decent stuff from them. But you don't, you know, the ones around here, most of them, it's okay. There's 1 or 2 decent things, but on the whole, it's you know, it's fairly bog standard. Books I would tend to always get something.
The way it works here in Norway is that it's basically the Salvation Army, and they collect stuff all over Norway, and it's sent to one sorting facility where the pickers also have a fair idea of what stuff might be able to sell for more. So by the time it gets out in the shops, there's loads of rubbish, but anything good is priced too high for it really to be much of a find.
Okay, right.
Which has kind of killed the joy of doing it here. Now it's even harder to find a good find.
I think there's a lot of here now that these sort of kilo sales where they sell by the weight.
I've seen that, yeah.
I've never been to one, but there's usually a few on a monthly basis in Glasgow here, and I'm assuming it's the same everywhere in the UK, where you pay per weight, and I can't help but thinking, what's the chances of picking something up decent? You know,
they know what they have.
Yeah, I think it'll have been filtered somewhat by the time it reaches the consumer. It may have been filtered somehow, you know. But you know, I'm a great believer in buying second hand. You know, it's a way of life for me now, and it's how I buy stuff. You know, and I don't think I'll go back. You know, but again, it's allowed me to buy things that I wouldn't normally pay for. I wouldn't normally buy stuff as expensive. You know, and that's where I'm able to again apply the principles of buying once and not having to rebuy, but doing it on a second-hand basis. So, and we'll be able to apply
the second-hand market is so huge and so I almost say transparent now. I mean, you've got eBay, but you've got stuff like Depop, and you've got all the small ads.
Market as well.
You've got the vintage shops, and there's just so much around. I mean, if we said stop making clothes today, I mean, it'd be years before we needed to produce anymore.
Because you know, clothing it lasts. If you look after it, it lasts. You know, if you don't, like, if you're washing it, wear it at the right temperature. If you fold it and put it away properly. If you know, with jeans, if you hang them upright, trousers, shoes, put your shoe sleeves in. you know, things will last you if you look after them. And again, if you've bought something that's a little bit more expensive than you perhaps normally would, you'll tend to again take a little bit more care of it and look after it more, whether it's polishing your shoes that little bit more often, or you know, sort of making sure the jacket's on a proper hanger, that kind of thing. These are all basics that have been going over since time immemorial, but they're truisms, you know, that it's absolutely true that if you do that things will last you longer, you know.
Yeah, definitely being careful about washing. I mean, I have stuff I've been wearing for, I don't know if I should even admit to this, but I've been wearing it, say, for a year or two on and off.
Yeah.
And washed it yet, because I know I haven't spilled ketchup down the front.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a sweaty monkey. I hang things up carefully, let them air out, and I'll wear them again.
Yeah.
And also, I noticed the programs on the washing machine, the normal 40 degree is a really harsh wash program. There are ones that will give a nice clean, which use less time, less detergent, less water, and are so much easier on the garments.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a 15-minute one on our washing machine that you can put to 30 degrees. You can have on a slow spin, and if it's knitwear, especially like lamb's wool or cashmere, I would tend to just use that.
Yeah.
But again, it's not next to your skin. A jumper tends to be, so you would tend to always wear a shirt or a t-shirt under a jumper, so it's not getting, as you say, it's not getting sweaty, it's not getting marked, and as long as you're maybe just wearing it for a day and then moving on to something else, it shouldn't need washed that much. You know, I would actually probably wash my jeans more than I wash my jumper, you know, because knitwear, woolens are the thing that washing machines can ruin very, very quickly, you know. That's the one thing I would say that, again, even at 40 degrees, you can ruin even a cotton jumper. It'll fade, it'll stretch, you know, it'll lose shape. Whereas a wool jumper will completely ruin it, you know. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
A lot of good tips in this this chat, Shaun.
Well, I hope so. I hope, you know, and I think if anyone's got any questions, they can message us later, and we can just ignore it as always. I mean, sorry, we could answer it and you know, spend the rest of the afternoon answering questions. And I hope people have enjoyed it. And then we need to think about what we're going to discuss. Have you got any other chats coming up? Anything else this week?
I've got a chat coming up with Harris Tweedweaver tomorrow, I think.
Oh, excellent! I'll be listening to that.
And maybe another chat with Ducky on Saturday.
Cool. I enjoyed the last one.
So yeah, we're having lots of fun.
Okay. Good
so,
stuff.
In summary, what do we say today?
We say buy right, do your research, buy things that last you, think about what your budget is, and again, research what you can get for your budget, and think about how many times I'm going to wear that item. So, do I buy a blue polka dot jumper that I can wear once, or do I buy a blue jumper that I can wear 10 times? And
be careful in the sales, because 50% discount is a powerful beer goggle.
Don't be tempted by it. Having spent a lifetime in a way selling clothes, sales, that's maybe a topic for another day, actually. We'll just say, just don't.
For anyone who joined late, this chat will be available as soon as I can get it up on Instagram TV and on YouTube. So sometime later this evening, I'll pop up a link.
Yeah.
And that's it from us.
That's it. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.